Hi there, it's Zappa Zach again or Zappa, excuse me, from For Mythical Family. I'm here to, as you can see, I have my mask here. We're ready to start priming. We're ready to start this project finally. Been really wanting to do this, and now I got the opportunity. I chose two different minis. I chose really wanted to do this dwarf fighter again. It has excellent detail, and I'm imagining a nice red fiery beard on him, and some bronze armor. So I'm really excited to doing this. Um, so I got him already mounted. We got from our last video from what we did flashing, or the mold lines. We got to make sure all those are gone. So it's nice and perfectly ready to go. Another one I'm going to be doing is also the Elven Queen. Um, just another one because this is going to be a fairly quick video. You'll see how fast this is going to go by using an airbrush. It's too cold outside to do the cans, but the airbrush is fine in an indoor type setting. Normally I would have also a booth hooked up with some better ventilation, but for the purposes this should be just fine like it is. Shouldn't cause very much splattering or overspray, and I got a nice paper protection that we talked about before. Paper on one side and a wax underneath on the other side. What type of primer is going to be using? Since I'm looking at this Elven Queen, I'm imagining like her to be a brunette. And also have her cloak be like a bright baby blue. That's my future plan on this one. So I think I'm going to go with a white primer with her, just because of how light I'm going, and I don't want to be fighting with the gray. However, the dwarf, it's going to be a little more grungier, and I think starting with a gray one, or even a black would be appropriate. I'm going to start with gray on with him. It's going to be pretty easy to go back and forth from the airbrush that I'll be using, a Talon airbrush. See, it's already hooked up and ready to go, hooked up to my compressor. One of my other videos when we talked about the airbrush, just kind of going over the basics of it, and you can see that also on my playlist as well. But it's all set, ready to go. It's just nice little thing. You may hear the compressor kick on once in a while. It's not very loud, but you'll definitely hear it in the background when it does kick on. Just kind of show you my holder setup. This is where where I'll be kind of hanging it up when I'm not using the airbrush, and also where I'll be cleaning and so forth as well. Okay. So we'll just kind of get started here. I'm going to put some gloves on. Why? Because I don't want to pry my hands too much. I already got some primer on my thumb, and now my phone doesn't recognize it anymore.
No, seriously.
Seriously, got into the little crevices, and now I can't use it anymore. Matter of fact, I better turn off the ringtone just in case. Sorry about that, folks. Alright. Put that off the side here. So I do wear quite a bit of gloves at times if I don't want to really get my hands all painted up and primed or whatever. It's just easier for me. And since I work in the medical field, kind of FYI, I don't like having too much stuff on my hands. So anyways, let's start with the Elven. I'm going to go from lighter to dark when we're doing this, just because it's easier to do it that way and it's easier to mix. But we'll start with her real quick. I made sure all the mold lines are gone, like I said before, and we're just going to go and get started here. So I'm going to get my airbrush. I'm going to use this right out of the bottle. You want your primer to be almost like a milky color, but it is going to be a lot thicker than what your paint is. I have my compressor and my set up to about 40 psi, between 30 and 50 when we're using primers. The needle I'm using for my airbrush is 0.38, so it's a little bit of a finer control. but you could use up to like a 0.5 millimeter easily. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to pour it right into the cup. Just a little bit in there. So we don't need a whole heck of a lot for this little project. There's the compressor. Now, just imagine if I didn't have a tank. I have a tank on this one. This will be going continuously while I'm doing this. With a tank, it gives me a little more time for a more even pressure as I'm going along. So I'm just going to kind of get it, airbrush a little bit here. Just going to put a little bit on the surface, see how it feels. Now, if I was going to do it with the spray can, again, I would tell you to hold it just right, and you would come from the outside and move in. Basically, I'm going to do the same thing with, I just sprayed it all over the place. I'm going to do the same thing with the airbrush. I'm going to go off a little bit, and then I'm going to go onto it, and then I'll see how it goes. This way I'm making sure I'm not doing any type of splattering whatsoever on it. So, I better put my Bane mask on. I really don't want to prime my lungs either. Okay, here we go. Hopefully you guys can hear me pretty good.
I'm gonna switch cameras so that the main focus is on the mini.
Okay. So we're going to test it a little bit, and then we're going to go and we're going to just go ahead and go on to the miniature itself. Gently moving back the thing to the consistency I want. We don't want to go too thick on it because we don't want to cover up any type of detail that's going on there. But you can see how fast that comes on there. A lot of it's trigger control. You can see I kind of screwed up there just a little bit. So I'm going to remove some of that. How's that?
There you go.
So I did a little bit, a little thicker down in the base here. That's my little error there. It's pretty well covered, but I'm going to go in every direction just one more time. As you can see, I'm moving the mini around quite frequently to get in all those little crevices and so forth. All those little neat little details. You can see it's pretty well covered now. I'm not really missing any areas. A little bit of pooling, so I didn't do that great of a job, but I'm just kind of drying it a little bit there. So that's pretty good. See, just a few seconds with an airbrush and it's done and ready to go. It's basically got to sit for overnight so that primer can harden. Now I'm just going to clean my airbrush just real quick. Get rid of the stuff that's already in there. I'm going to remove the rest of it. Grab my airbrush cleaner. Gonna pour it in there. And then I'm just gonna put it wide open and let some of that come out. You can probably see a little bit of steam coming out from the end. That's just some of the gases escaping. But there's a filter in there to prevent any type of splashes or so forth. Another thing to do is to hold your finger on the end of it, and then also bring it back, because it pulls back some of the fluid back into the cup, and you'll see it bubble on up. So I'm doing this because I'm changing out the color of the primer. You don't have to go this... Boy, I'm messy today. Okay. So that's out of there. Okay. Now it's ready for the gray primer. Again, I'm going straight out of the bottle because it's worked quite nicely. It's nice milky type texture. Not too thick. Not too runny either. Just going to test it on my work table here a little bit. Come on. Sometimes it gets a little clogged up and you got to get in, kind of flush it out a little bit. Open it way open. What's your problem? There we go.
What color did you use in the first
First one is just plain white.
one? Oh,
Just plain white.
you always prime with two colors?
No, I just chose the white on the princess,
Yeah.
or on the queen, because I'm using such a light color on her.
Oh, got it.
So I didn't want
talked
to
about that in your other video about
Yeah.
whether you use dark.
a darker one or a light one. With the dwarf, since he's just a little more gruffier, a little more dirtier, I'll use a more of a grayish type. You can almost use black on him too, but since I'm looking for a nice strawberry red type beard, fiery red, I want to kind of go with a little bit
White will
lighter.
be good, or gray will be good.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna do a shield real quick. Just gonna go over it real quick. Come on. I have a little bit of a problem here. Sorry. 1 second. There we go. Okay. Now, normally, since this is where the shield kind of goes, I probably would tape it off. But I'm just going to go ahead and go over it, and then I'll scrape some of that off when I'm ready to attach the shield. And I'll show that to you later.
1 second. I'm just gonna shift the camera slightly so that you can keep your arm where it is, but it's more in the middle. Without hopefully being on camera.
Okay.
Myself. Let me
Okay.
make sure that that's good.
You can see this has really excellent detail to it. So I gotta be real careful with this one so we don't mess it up with
Yeah,
the
that's
primer.
better.
I'm gonna go ahead, that's it. I'm gonna go over the bananas. Just like that, all done. It keeps the nice details on it, and it comes to a nice base of the primer all over. And as you can see, when I was doing it, I was going moving the mini all around, trying to get it around all the little nicks and crannies and so forth. But I'm real happy how this one turned out. There's no pooling. Yeah, I'm really happy with this one. Looks like my missed.
Your left hand is. This area of your left hand is the center of where the camera is.
Right there.
Can you do it back? Right there.
Okay. Just gonna do his axe real quick, a little more. Looks like I might not hit all of it. There we go. That's priming with an airbrush. Really simple, real fast, real easy. Usually I'm not as messy as this. I don't know, it's just because I'm just doing this first time on camera. Matter of fact, this one's just about dry. Just a little more here. But then we'll just let it sit for overnight, and then we can start the painting segment of it. Of course, the next time we'll do this is probably not till next Monday or the following Monday. But at least we got a start on it finally. So that's pretty much it on my part. Any questions that you saw? So? Oh.
And but wait, before you do that, do you? Okay, so if I was going to do this, I think my first question would be, what do you do with the airbrush? Do you like start the flow of paint like off to the side and then mist it over it, or are you hitting it with bursts of the airbrush at it? Like, how do you avoid the too much paint?
What I would do, just like I would do with the spray can, and considering I'm still kind of learning my trigger control, as you pretty much can see, I would probably go off to the side a little bit,
Okay.
spray a little bit, and try to get your trigger control and see how you're doing on your side, and then move on to your miniature and keep it at that trigger length.
Okay.
That's what I would do. That's because I'm not that well trained or versed in the airbrush. I use mainly airbrush for larger projects or for priming. I bet there's other people out there that probably know exactly how to do it real, like the first time right on their miniature. But for being an intermediate or beginner type level with the airbrush, I tend to go off to the side and move towards it, just like I would with a spray can. I wanted to see how it's spraying on my paper versus the other way. For example, if I were to see this nice even coating, it's probably, I don't know if you can see that or not,
Yeah.
but if I were to mess up or get too much, you see how it pulled up like that?
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of do it off to the side, so I know what, so I can make the mistake off the miniature than onto the miniature.
Yeah. See, that's exactly what I would be afraid of doing. Is it pulling up, like that much of it, like coming out?
Right. Another thing with the airbrush too is when you figure out your control, is how close you get to your miniature. I don't know if you saw, but I wasn't that really that close. That's kind of gives you an idea of how far back you want to go. The further you go back, the more area you'll be covering, and closer you'll be going a lot closer.
The light on the white paper is actually showing off the paint really well
When I'm doing it.
like in terms of like area and like the amount of paint you're putting down.
Did it? Good, good. I was hoping to see that effect. I can't really see it that well in my eye. But I was hoping it would show that.
Does the airbrush work? Is there only one orientation that the airbrush works in?
Well, for the cup, you wanted the cup up and down. You don't really want it off to the side because then you'll spill just like that. So you want to try to keep it up pretty much up and down perpendicular so that the gravity goes into the airbrush itself.
Okay.
So now for cleaning, or any other questions or anything before I go on?
No, not really. I mean, with a gravity cup, if you do tip it like that and it's low paint and it sucks in air, it will mess up the stream. But
Will it mess up the airbrush?
if you tip it back up, it'll immediately suck paint back in and you can just keep going.
For the most part, yes, but it'll cause some bubbling. So you may want to go ahead and do a full blast to get the air out of it and just leave nothing but paint.
Hmm.
Yeah, putting those away properly is important.
Yeah. So basically, you just want to empty out whatever is left in there. Sometimes you can save it and put it back into the primer itself or the bottle, but I just want to just get rid of it. I don't feel like messing with it and messing something up. So I'll just empty it. I'll onto a paper towel or something like that. Get the excess off. I'll run my paper towel in there to get more excess out. I'm going to remove the crown tip here for a second.
Now I see airbrushes that have it looks like a pen tip without the pen sticking out of it. And that one looks like it's more open. Is there a reason for that? Is there a difference?
I think it's just the a tool that I have on there. If you see without the open area, I took it off.
Yeah.
It looks like more like a pen.
Oh, so what is that thing? What does that open thing do?
It just helps direct the flow of the
Okay.
spray. I don't think it's going to make a difference one way or another. No, it's maybe the same one way or another. It just helps direct the flow outward than outward. Okay, so I'm just going to take my little thing here. I'm going to empty out the rest of the paint that I couldn't get with a brush. I'm going to take my airbrush cleaner. I'm going to pour it in there. Just a little bit. And I'm going to run it through again. Put my finger on the tip there, and it's going to bubble up back.
Asking if there's any advice on how to build a narrative or tell a story with how you paint.
I'll let you know.
I would think that there would be, because the way that you're painting them, whether they're covered with road grime, whether they're,
You mean like as you're painting, you're telling a story, or
Kyle, what do you mean? Do you mean telling a story while you're painting, or what you have painted tells a story about the figure once you're done painting? It'll take a second for the chat delay, but we'll see what you respond. That's a really good question.
yeah, it is a good question. I like it.
Yeah.
I suppose as I'm painting, I could tell you what I'm thinking as I'm painting the character. Like when I'm doing my um, like for instance, my queen. I have a definite something in mind for my queen and why I'm
Okay.
doing it.
Oh, okay. So he's saying like how your mini is painted, like scuff marks, like dirt on the clothing, like.
Um, yes, as I'm doing it, I will think of something like, all right, so like I'm looking at my dwarf here and I'm saying, all right, he's getting ready for battle. Um, and he's been marching all day, and he has mud that's up on his cloak at his back. He has a little mud on his boots, and I'll actually will paint a little bit on there like that. So I have done that. Perhaps he's just starting to go into battle, or he has been in battle. I'll paint a little bit of blood on his axe,
Oh yeah.
showing that he actually hacked down a few people. Um, I have done things like that in the past. I will put nicks in the shields or something like that. Little paint on little nicks, showing that he'll have that he was in a battle. If that's what you're referring to, I will think about that as I'm painting this character and saying, what is he doing at this time and why is he doing it and where does he fit in my whole entire thing. For instance, I'm looking at this dwarf and I'm thinking that he's in battle and he's been marching for a long time and he's in the wilderness because he's on dirt. Um, Although I'll probably put a little grass on there. Um, so he's going to be a little bit on the dirtier side. Um, you're done. Um,
Kyle says, yeah, exactly. Awesome. Like I think you hit exactly what he was thinking on the nail.
right.
Have you okay, here's a question. Have you ever painted more than one mini of the same figure based on the adventure you know they're going to go through?
Yes.
So that way, like as you're playing the story, instead of painting, well, I mean, I guess you could age the mini and continue to paint it throughout your story. But I would think that you would almost want to have more than one in case.
Um,
Like
yes.
how they are in battle is different than.
I have done that in the past where I have one that's pristine, showing that they haven't been out in the wilderness at all, and then or in the caverns, and then later on having one that's been battle tested and battle hardened, and it'll be a lot more dirtier and more rusty and uh, lower nicks onto the armor and so forth. I have done that.
And with things like Hero Forge now, it's easier, much easier to have different poses and figures of the same character.
Correct.
Very true.
You can have a model with your character's weapons slung or weapons out like they're fighting, which I think would be fun. I've not taken advantage of that, unfortunately.
Yeah, Hero Forge is a little expensive, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But they make very excellent minis. You want something in particular? They can do it. Have I used Hero Forge? I sure have.
There's lots of services like that popping up now.
What was the what the hell's the 3D printer? Form Labs. Yeah, if we had a Form Labs printer, holy crap, I would be all over those STL files.
Mhm.
There'd be like 5,000 floofs. Knocking your beer off the table, shooting her bows, attacking with her short swords, pretending not to speak the local language, chasing ball bearings.
And I can see Floof doing all the above.
Right?
Yeah, I love that cat.
I'm driving the platinum dragon to distraction.
Mm,
Have to see if we get back to that game.
we need to. We need to get back to that game. Well, I'm just about done. I'm just running through some more cleaning fluid to make sure I got all the rest of the primer out. I really don't need to do a deep clean on this because it was pretty clean to begin with.
How often do you deep clean it?
Oh, that's a good question. Like every fourth time I use it,
Hmm.
I'll take it apart. Or if I'm having some problems with flow, um, with it not working correctly, then I'll take it all apart.
Just so you know, guys, if you want to see that done, he has a tutorial series up on YouTube. He has his own playlist. And there's a bunch of short videos on there that are tutorials about primers, about paints, about the color wheel, about airbrush that are perfect for watching before you get started and get into a project.
You just open it up to take a look to see if it's really gummed up. Doesn't look too bad.
The important part of preventing that, though, is cleaning it after you use it each time, right?
Each time, yes. Yep, you don't want to let it sit and dry out and everything because you'll have a hell of a time getting it clean. And you'll be kicking yourself every single day.
You know, if I'd been freaking thinking about it, I would have pulled a piece of terrain and primed terrain with you.
Oh, that'd have been cool.
I've done any prep work on any pieces.
And most of the stuff we have over there will need some prep work. It's 3D printed.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Get set for the next time. Just needs to dry out. Pretty easy stuff. I'm gonna clean up the outside and get these gloves off. But it's important to maintain your brush and to make sure it's clean after every use. Don't let it be sitting out and just drying up on you. Caked on paint and leaving paint on there. Because the airbrush will last you a long time if you take care of it.
What is in your airbrush cleaner? Is it acetone?
Ancient Chinese secret.
Funny.
This one's made from Awada. Where I got this one from. It was pretty cheap at the time and was pretty good. It was recommended for airbrush cleaning.
AWANA?
AWATA.
AW.
IW, excuse me. IW. ATA. ATA.
Iwata. Got it.
Iwata. 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 So with this, I'm done with that. Might as well show you how to discharge your canister. There's a little bit of a thing here. Most of them will have it, like a little key thing. You just pull that a little bit and empty out the air that's in there. Just like that. Then down here, you open this up all the way. And make sure there's no water in there, but it's most likely not. Just leave it open. And that's that. I think the air cleaner is a little bit of acetone and some water in it. but it's environmentally safe and fast acting.
Indeed.
So, all right, guys, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. We'll see you around sometime soon. Next time I'm on, I'm going to start actually putting down a base coat on these, which is the actual first layer and starting point of where I'll be painting. Yeah, after these start dry and harden. And we'll show you that. And that's basically just your medium tones first coat. And then we'll just continue from there. I'm excited to do that next time.
Sweet.
So, y'all have a good evening now.